All right, my friends, here we are. My favorite part of the week. Got a nice coffee going. And first of all, let's just see how many we got today. I don't think it's that hellacious. Good. It's only 18. That means I can really take my time, go through it. Okay, first graduate. It's pretty cool because I know them personally. Pepper Chess, thank you for the subs. This is Firesnap, and Firesnap is 9 years old, almost 10. And I'm going to go ahead and say I'm a little jealous of Firesnap. Let me just move my camera here. Oh, my God, I died. It's over. Oh, no, it's all over. I've fallen down and I can't get up. Let's see if we can fix this. I'll tell the story of Firesnap while I'm fixing this. So Firesnap is 9, almost 10, and I'm jealous because the kid has recently discovered chess, discovered the dojo, and he's just all in, dude. He's totally all in. And really the only thing I've told him is to go slow and to bring his people up. That's all I've said. That's all I've said. And that's pretty good advice. And that's all he needed. These people he's playing, of course, are moving way too fast, right? They're moving way too fast, and he is taking advantage of it. And that's how he is progressing. He is crushing the Polgar mates. He is crushing the Giannato's book. He just started doing the Puzzle Rush today. And so, beautiful progress. I watched him do some maiden ones, and I was really impressed with how fast he was seeing it. Boss, this is still not correct. Here, hold on. I was very impressed with how fast he was seeing the mates. And I'll say, in some ways, the mates can be used as a chess, I don't want to say IQ test, but chess talent test. And that occurred to me ages ago when I had a camp with then 5-year-old Christopher Yu. And he was blazing through the maiden twos. He was in a camp with kids much older than him, and it was just like bam, 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 you know. And then, of course, Christopher Yu now, he's maybe got some health issues now, but, you know, now he's 18 to something like that, 20. He's going to make 2,700. I think so, anyways. And so that was one of my first experiences with using the mates as like, how is this kid going to do? Anyways, Firesnap is doing great. Let's click on him. And look, see that, dude? That's what youth looks like. That's a graph. That's what youth looks like. And he hasn't played much on chess.com. But he's just started actually there today with just for the Puzzle Rush. Okay, not only that, but I haven't looked at it yet. He has annotated a game. Yes. Okay. The infamous E4. It's my time to shine. I mean, bring my people out. Good. Right. And here we could probably take the pawn. He says no. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting about the kid that applies to adults as well. He says, I thought I was Ponzianiing. Now, Ponziani is like an opening. And what is happening with Liam is he's so obsessed with chess. He's only been around it a couple of weeks, but he's so obsessed that he's running around, you know, Lichess and stuff and seeing like videos and just taking in all kinds of information. This is not the information we want. It does not help Liam to know the word Ponziani. In fact, if he didn't know the word Ponziani, maybe he would, if he didn't see knight takes e5. First of all, maybe if he didn't know the word, he might have found knight e5. And second of all, he might have, if he didn't find knight e5, he might have played a principled move, which would be knight c3 or bishop c4. Okay, rant over. c3, knight f6. Boom. Boom, boom. Check to the miserable king. All right. I don't know what doot means. That might be a Zoomer term that the boomer doesn't know. So here we go. Row pinned by Horsey. Your poor Horsey got pinned. It's true. D5's fine. Yeah. Okay, so now we're down a pawn, right? I don't know what these things mean. Blink, blink. I have no idea what that means. Check to the miserable king. Okay, so queen e1 doesn't really help us. Bishop e6 is a developing move. And this is moving a developed piece twice. It makes a lot of sense for black to do what? Queen takes g5. Somehow this is a variation, but that's a no intendo because we just lost our piece there. Now, these people, look at Voldemort here. Let's call him Voldemort. Dude is at 1525. They started at 15. It's like 1515. So black is not thinking at all. At all. Check to the miserable king. We get a pawn. Okay. Check. Good. Okay. Good. Good. Oh! Bows. We had queen takes h3. I don't know why these variations are so long here, because you just take the queen and say thank you very much. Again, I want you to notice black's time here. He's not taking any time. Here's this beautiful time graph that Jack created for us. Boom! So I want you to notice, definitely Liam could be using more time, but his opponent is simply treating this 15-15 game like a blitz game. So, again, this guy might be a genius, but if he's not going to take his time, it doesn't matter. We are going to slay him, okay? That is where the points will be gained. Now, we could have lost our queen there, too. We're losing a lot of stuff here now. We're losing a lot of stuff. Yeah. I think, honestly, this was played a couple days ago or something, that he's already better. Now, there it is. Hanging the queen again. Black offers a draw. No, thank you. I don't understand that move. I don't understand a lot of these moves. There we go. Take it. All right, and Liam finishes him off here. There we go, buddy. All right, there it is. So, fantastic. Now, if you remember, Liam graduated last week. And so now he graduates again. Let's go back. And really cool, now in the 400 to 500. And I want to say, for the training program, it's very interesting to me, a couple of reasons. One, we don't have, that I know of, definitely not no one personally, someone so young interacting with the program. And one of the things that I've discovered as a problem is that parents, including myself, wouldn't want their kids just hanging out on the internet, because what happens with Liam is he just starts going crazy, dude, watching openings on the Ponziani, man. Right? So our site, like, you have to get into the internet to use it, and there's several things in there where it's hard to do without the internet. But then what happens, the internet unfolds in front of you and you get distracted. You start going down various rabbit holes. Happens to adults too. But from a parental point of view, I'm like, I get it. Dude doesn't need to be watching Ponziani videos. Right? Next thing, there was some difficulty for him to do stuff like uploading the game. And I showed him how to do it, but I was like, right, he doesn't know how would you know if you just started playing chess what a PGN was, right? So we have to make it easier to use, to understand, like, what does that mean to paste the PGN, right? Alvas, how old? He's 9. Yeah. Muslim, bring your people out. The only advice, says Alex. That's right. Okay, so congratulations to Firesnap. I have a strong feeling we're going to see him again next week, graduating again. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of being 9 years old and studying some chess. Next up, we have Mariko. Doing a lot of tactics helped for sure, but also playing longer and slower was a contributing factor. Slower play helped me to reduce blunders and looking beyond the next move. Still lots to improve for sure. Okay, beautiful. That's a lot of work, 63. So we're going to click on Mariko. Also new to the game. Okay, researcher in the field of AI, cybersecurity. A little jealous there too. That also sounds fun. Yeah. Maria or Mariko, great. 605, just gave it over the hump. Fantastic. That's a nice curve. And let's go over here to the training plan. She's done her tactics over here. Nice. And actually then let's go activity and we'll look at how she did it. So, looking good. Yeah. Click around a little bit. Get the puzzle rush, mates in one. Beautiful. All right. End game, the algorithm, fine. Yeah, it's looking great. And I think we're going to get some games in here too. So let's, just you got any clubs? The European Dojo Club. Nice. Okay. European Dojo Club, that thing's huge. Okay, so this is a game played fairly recently. Okay. Opponent not blitzing moves. Good. Let's just actually take a look at the time. Oh, yeah. So that's, by the way, that is what a time graph should look like over there. Beautiful so far. A little weird. And then that's bad. Now, one thing we want to say is to just talk about opening principles. So bishop d6 is poor because it's blocking the pawn. And knight d5 is poor because this bishop is crying out, the rook is crying out, this one's crying out. The knight on c3 is already doing something, right? In addition, you're hanging the pawn when you play knight d5. Now, something I want to stress. It's harder to learn to not drop pawns than it is to obey the opening principles, okay? Let that sink in a little bit. Like, we all know we shouldn't drop pawns, but the skill to not drop them, in my experience, is something that takes a while to learn. Me shouting at Liam a bunch, I've already got that kid, man. He's not moving the velvet piece twice, too much at least. At least the last couple games I've seen, because he knows I'm going to yell at him. So it's a very basic thing. So what would the principled moves be? D3, D4, castles. That's it. Your choice, right? Your choice. But not that one. Okay, black's doing good. C4, a little frisky, all right. Weird, right? Totally weird. No one understands. There's a variety of other moves that black could have played. But that's just like that knight's not doing anything over there. Good move. It's getting a little loose over there. Okay. That's spicy. Now, Mariko, the biggest challenge for you to get to the next level will be not hanging stuff, right? And this one freaks me out because on ED4, there's so much going on here. And it's unnecessary to get this complicated. It is, maybe get a bit of break, Kraai, because it is interesting. It is interesting, I gotta say. Because look what she's doing. She's saying, all right, if you take that thing, I'm gonna get this spicy check. Yeah. Now, this would be good, too, to do a little bit of annotations. For example, are you losing a piece on knight e6? Looks a little bit like it. But then we have this move. Bam! And then this one. Bam! Uncovering on the bishop. So even there, it seems like you're okay. So this was some fancy stuff you pulled off here. And that's definitely a mistake, because now they just lost a pawn and their good bishop. And that bishop on c8 is moaning. Moaning Myrtle. King h8, I didn't understand. Notice, what does black need to do? They need to get this person out. Forget about everything else. That person needs to come out. b6 or b5, bishop b7, something to get it out. A little bit of a cheap threat. Now, this one isn't awful, but I want to stress the queen's doing a cool job here because it's blocking this pawn from moving. So a simpleton move would be like b3, followed by moving the bishop to one of those squares, bringing the rook in. Now notice, I want to bring all my people in, just like Liam said, bring them in. All right, so notice, this happens a lot at the level you're at. The people are going to go for tricky stuff, right? Instead of fixing their pieces. This one doesn't seem right. But oh my God, Marika, you got actually every time I say it's wrong, I'm like, oh my God, there's actually a tricky thing here. So rook takes g6. She's got this fancy move. Holy mandolis. It's still going to be hectic after queen g8. Whew, man. So we also then want to investigate hg. And do we have anything? I don't know. Looks black is a piece up. And now rook takes g2. Yeah, rook takes g2 looks horrendous. They miss it. And look, is black, by the way, in general, ends up using their time. But here, like, no, they just move that pretty quick. This is like the critical position. Uh-oh, they blundered that one. Now we got him. Good move. Good move. That looks good. Oh, rook f8 was mate. Yeah. Now, yeah, we want to move a little slower. It's getting hot now, isn't it? Holy cannolis. Oh, it's really hot now. Wow. She's playing some spicy chess. All right, now she says this thing is equal. Maybe. To me, it looks like a mess. I guess we got to still prefer white because the bishops are so amazing. I don't understand that move. Thank you. This was not a great move. But at this stage, I think I'm getting a bit tired and I begin to settle for a draw. Right. So in your annotations, write about it. Be like, I should have done something else. What's interesting, of course, is your bishop is amazing. And like this kind of stuff is really tasty. I don't understand that move. Okay, now we get this rook endgame. Good move. Well, okay. Okay, so there we go. All right, so a couple things that I think will take you to the next level, Mariko. Don't move develop pieces twice, and it's stuff that's hanging that will be the deciding factor for how you get to the next level. You're playing with a lot of pizzazz, okay? You're playing with some pizzazz. Like in this position, you're playing d4, which I guess is technically correct. When I first saw it, I was like, no way. But it turns out like it's a beautiful move. Did you calculate it all out? I don't know. it would be good to see it in the notes. It's okay to play crazy tactics, and this is kind of what we want to do anyway. But nota bene, we could just go back and play d4 anyway. You're right though. We want to play d4. And one of the variations I love here is pop, 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 and then you get him again with this dirty check. This dirty check harassed him so much that later, when he didn't need to, he played king h8 because he was just like, dude, I can't take it anymore. I was harassed by that so much. So these variations we should analyze more in depth. We should criticize CD. And then let's concentrate on this too. In the same way that we want to not move developed pieces twice, when it comes to this part of the middle game, we want to activate everybody. And what you do now is you go on this chase to try to mate him immediately. And the easy thing to do, because they're so bottled up, is to develop, right? This is also a good move. This is fine. You're threatening things like that. And then bring the Dao again, right? Everybody's working. So like players who aren't out, it's just like a basketball player. If you imagine you're a basketball coach, you get to send 5 people in, but you're like, no, I'll just do it 2. I'll just do it 2. I'll bring them all in. Anyways, that was great. And we're hoping Mariko continues her pizzazz. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of Mariko. All right, next up is Synesia. Synesia might be performative in the sense that maybe they just got here. We'll see here. So activity, yeah. Right, Synesia just got here. All right, so we'll go back. Next up, we have Johan. Playing more games was the way. Instead of binge watching YouTube and trying to improve through osmosis, I've played more games since joining the dojo than the entire previous year. Should put some more time in the Polgar mates in 2. They are hard. Great, dude. Oh, Mariko's in the chat. Nice. It is about time. That's right, Abdul. Okay. Abdul's referencing a course that I did for Chessable. And actually, you know, one thing that's interesting, I've been thinking about a little bit, is Chessable asked me, they're like, dude, do you want to do a second course, maybe an intermediate? And the idea would be, the name of the course would be Time to Do What? And what's interesting about that is, like, a common problem that people have is they get to that, you know, the kind of opening stage is over, and then it's a lot harder actually to know what to then do. But it's still having the time. And one of the things I thought would be cool is, since if you understand that time is important and you just take the time that people are going to give you, they're not going to give you material, they're going to give you time, that it would be cool to do a bunch of training positions where you have extra time and then need to find a way to think about, like, well, what do I do with this time? Okay, so here we got Johan here. Let's take a look. And we're going to go back 1. Some good work. Doing some Polgar mates in 2. Good. And everything looks good there. Got some middle games and strategy. Great. This all looks good. Let's see if we got a game. This is Johan. The Hacksaw Gambit. Chess.com makes up this stuff. Okay, so C3, D takes C3. This is interesting. Knight F6 would transpose, so I think this is a little risky on Black's part. Fun position. Okay. So Black tries to bail out. Now, let's talk about time here for a second. So, when you think about the position just from the lens of time, if you don't want to do queen c3 because of queen e4, okay, which actually I like your variation a lot. You know, you're just saying, wow, I got a lot of time. The other thing to see from the perspective of time is if you decided to be a lame-o, that you are up actually quite a bit of time here, because they owe you this move or this one to get the bishop out. And what you'll probably do is put your king here. This is another example of time. We don't want a castle. This is now the end game. We want our king to be active in the middle. So I would also say this is a clear advantage for white. Okay, queen e3. c2 is a little bit like not understanding time, because your knight c3 is a developing move, and unless that pawn on c2 is miraculous, then it's not that special. Why is knight e5 wrong? It's not a developing move. Good. Now we get a little frisky. Knight d5. Okay. Now, in this position, you had other options, and it's good to maybe think about them. A basic one would be pop, pop, and pop. Fun position. They could have thought about d6 here. Okay, so they lose the right to castle. Ooh, horrendous move. Okay, actually, so you guys remember, I said it would be interesting to do some kind of course where we talk about a position where we've been given a bunch of time. And I would say this is a great example where we've been given a lot of time. And then we could use this position just to be like, well, bows, what should we do? I do not like queen takes c2. And I want you to think about it, though. Let's look at our time graph. Yeah, so white and black really, black didn't use anything. In general, what we'll say is at least the players in the dojo are using more time. They're using more time than their opponent. Okay, so let's try to break down this position. We want to mate this person, right? That much we know. And the other thing we want to say is that we are interested in utilizing this dude. He's a very angry person, really. And it would be cool as well if we could hinder d6. So some of the dynamic options for white, just to throw out there to look at, would be queen g3 and d6. d6 really appeals to me. If queen takes, we're going to take there and there. And bishop, or rather bishop g5 will come, and it's going to be mate. So c takes, I guess, is something like forced. And now we have, well, we've got several moves here. Just the first one to come to mind would be like queen g3. Maybe you got to stop it with h6 and then start wailing on that square, you know. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this pawn with development. See, like king c7. Oh, it's going to be a developing move, you know. It's going to be a developer, and it's going to be angry. It's going to be super angry when I take that thing. Right. So what I want you to see is queen c2. We're going to call it a comfort move. It's not bad. You are hitting h7, so maybe I should forget about it. Black should, it's a bad business, honestly. They should play d6. They give you time. Good move. And now we have a couple moves. Good move. I like that a lot. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. He just resigns. He's just like, I've had enough. And you know what you needed to do after the game is, after you said welcome to the dojo, because that's just a performative thing you got to do, is you say, bows. Next time, bring out your peoples. Bring out your peoples. Use your time. So look, I hope Liam's still listening. At this level, and it applies to later levels too, it's like a fundamental thing. You need to learn to bring your people out and to use your time. Wonka 8, neither of these lessons. Maybe Wonka 8 is a genius, right? Could be. But it doesn't matter if they're a genius, because if you don't use your time, you can forget about it, right? It's all over. D.L. Borger once said at OTB. That's really good. Okay, so, Johan. That was a pretty good game, man. That was a pretty good game. I think on the basis of that, I think you're going to progress nicely. You already are. Look at that, too. That's just a nice progression. Okay, let's go back. Next up, we got Michael. Michael doesn't say anything, but that's okay. Michael's been doing a lot of work. Been playing chess for a couple years since I was 25, and after almost another quarter century, I've reignited my passion. Late 23, joined the dojo. Mostly been playing matches on Chess.com. Excited to enhance my chess skills. Okay, great. And right, Michael's graduated before. Beautiful rating graph. I'll go over here, activity. We got to go down one. I always go down one to see how they made it to their current cohort. And they did it with 103 hours, my friends. Okay, so this is some real work happening. As we progress up the ladder, more work is generally required, right? It gets harder as you go up. A lot of people have been saying, Kraai, we got to celebrate the advanced cohort graduations more. And to my mind, it's like, whether it's advanced or not, I really appreciate the graduations of people who really were stuck at a certain place for a long time, didn't give up, and then boom, push through it. Difficult. Okay, let's click around a little bit. We got some endgame, nice. We got some middle game, nice. We got some tactics, looking good. Okay, and we got some games. And then there's some non-dojo. What do we got? Okay. Are there any clubs? The European Club. Oh, that's the European Club, man. People are all over it. All right, Mishlaut. I remember this. Okay, so this was uploaded yesterday. Dojo aggressive repertoire for white. Fun. Fine. Now, okay. This is a very fun position, and we could do a couple things. Let's pretend h3 is okay. Boom, 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 boom. Queen d7. And then you say f5, which is very ambitious. Was thinking a long time about the next move. Couldn't find something really good. The black knight on d4 is really painful. Couldn't find any normal way to develop and castle alongside. Perhaps develop my dark square bishop to g5. Felt a little bit lost here already. Okay. So, first thing we want to say is that we have a very dynamic situation on our hands, right? When we played h3, we are committing ourselves to losing some time for the sake of breaking the pin and gaining the light squares. Okay, so let's say the obvious. This is kind of annoying, right? And I think one of the driving factors for you to play h3 was maybe you were afraid of this and then like the takes. One thing I can say though is unless they mate you or something with the knight f3, it's not that scary because we'll just recapture and say thank you very much. A key feature about Federico the f-pawn is he wants a rook behind him. So I think what you did was probably okay. my intuition here would be knight a4, just so that next move I can castle, right? I'm going to eliminate the bishop, and it's not, I realize I'm moving a developed piece twice, but I'm doing it for the sake of Mr. Rook. Okay, but I think what you did is okay. And that's very spicy. Now, very spicy, because you aren't developing, right? But if they're not going to develop themselves, then we're not worried about it. You play knight e2. More interesting, I think, would be knight d5 and then follow that up with c3. Okay, knight e2. They have no fear. And now you play g4, and this is too much. This is too much. The guy is about to break with d5. We have some problems to solve, right? And our position, what we're in danger of is basically losing on time, i.e. tempo. So one way in which opening courses, in this case it was my opening course, that can lead people astray is they remember moves like g4 in other positions and then and kind of use that as their guiding light instead of the principles of the position, right? So here, we might still be okay, but we are like, let's say, cruising for a bruising. We're cruising for a bruising now. And yeah, I think we have several moves that we can consider. We could consider queen b3 with the intention to get this position. And I don't know, roughly equal. Maybe I'd rather be white. Another one you could do would be queen e2, d5, bishop b3. Just to say, I'm going to hold the line here, boss, and I'm going to intend bishop e3 and then castles some way, right? That could be our next thought. This is more dynamic, though. This move, I don't know. I guess I kind of get it in that you're like, I'm going to take this thing on d5 and then I don't want this thing to hang, right? All right, d5. We deserve to lose this position, by the way, because our pieces were so undeveloped. Rook he8. They could have considered knight f4. That would have been hard to meet. King d1. Mouse. Oh, mouse. Oh, mouse. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, now it is true that, you're doing some fancy things, but your opponent finds this. Now, one thing to say about the way this went down is this has everything to do with not developing your pieces, right? This has everything to do with that. And one of the sad things is we look at the time graph, your opponent didn't understand the value of clock time. They were just moving and moving and moving, right? Whew, that was fun and spicy. This is in my course, by the way, so, you could study it, but most importantly would be that things people learn in opening courses, such as Liam doing the Ponzianiing or whatever it was, right? It's not necessarily a helpful thing, because then instead of thinking about principled moves, you're like, well, what was that? What was it? What was that kind of thing I saw in that one line? And then you end up playing a move like g4. Oh, man, Oh, man, oh, man, oh. Okay, so let's go back. That was Mischlaut. And next up is, Americom, who has graduated, I think it was very recently. Now that my Lichess Classical is not provisional, I will use it as my preferred rating for cohort placing. I play much better on higher time controls, and my focus since I joined the dojo shifted to classical chess over rapid. However, my intention is not to skip cohorts according to my rating. I will dive into next cohort's training plan, and if my rating is still higher after doing the work and play more games, I will move to the next. After 2 months in the program, I already see a huge difference in my study habits. More discipline, don't waste time. Reviewing and annotating my games was supposed to be the most difficult part for me, but now it became a habit and already has brought profound benefits. Beautiful. Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, and I say this all the time, but the big surprise, the miracle of the dojo has been that whereas Kraai could not get his students for the longest time to do it, to annotate their games, to review their games, it has happened within the dojo. And I think a big part of it is when you are annotating, not for just some chump coach who will tell you whatever they think anyway, you are annotating it for a audience. You don't know who that audience is, and you are trying to make yourself as clear as possible to them. And by making yourself clear, you end up writing clear, right? Clear writing is clear thinking, and then we're getting some really good annotations, and we're also seeing people progress. Like for me, when I first started annotating my games, it was just 1 page or something, right? And then it evolved. And then we're seeing that here too. People are getting better at it. They're realizing the importance of it, the joy of it as well. It's a beautiful thing. Here's a good one. Jesse's favorite word is time. He says it more than Cyndi Lauper. Greetings, Mitch Loud. That's right. Okay, so let's look at Americom here. He's in the wrong cohort, Baus. He's in the wrong cohort. Now he's talking, he's going through it. He wants to go through everything side by side. Yeah. Look at that. He's way up there, dude. He's way up there. Baus. Let me just say, a lot of people say what Americom says, namely that they want to do the requirements and then go up. And I just want to say this is not the intention of the dojo. The stuff in your cohort is geared for your level. Plus, if you're a 1411 in the 1000 to 1100 cohort, sparring with them, it's like little bunny foo-foo picking up the field mice and doing whatever they do with the field mice. You know, we don't want that one. All right. Anyways, we're going to be following him. Definitely progress over here. Okay, next up, Mr. Jask. Maybe Mr. Jask just joined us. Yeah, so we got in the Dojo Down Under Club. You guys, can I just tell you, we started this actually, I think, oh God, it feels like it hasn't been that long, but we started the clubs, and let me just give a little plug for the clubs. We started this beautiful thing, and look at this, dude. Look at all these clubs that we have. I did a video, hopefully it'll come out soon, and let me just give a quick plug for my dream, okay, about these clubs. When I was a kid, we had some math teacher dude let us use the homeroom at lunch, maybe twice a week. What do? We just play a bunch of blitz. It's a beautiful club, a test team, because we traveled and stuff, went to like the nationals and all that stuff. But we didn't have structure. The great math teacher that was like our little sponsor or whatever, he didn't know anything about chess. But if he had had the ChessDojo training program, and we had like a scoreboard that showed who did what and who was progressing how much, oh man, that would have been really good. That would have been really good. And then the person then who is then the sponsor or the person, you know, facilitating the kids doing their thing, man, they just need to look at the recs and be like, okay, guys, let me help you do this. That's all you got to do. Also, though, of course, what we're seeing at first, the first take here too, is we're getting people who are in your area. You can do sparring with them. You can see who they are. Their little social activity. Beautiful. You got people, let's say Dutch dojo. They might want to hang out and talk in Dutch. Same thing with the Germans and the French and so on, right? So there's a variety of ways that the clubs then have a purpose. The European dojo is for the most part about time zone because, you know, they have different. They're going to do some classical game. They're going to want to do it at a different time. Same thing with the New Zealand people. Nobody knows even when those people go to sleep, right? But they have their own time zone. That's all I know. Okay. Just Filthy. Cool that you're here, man. All right, so here we go. We're going to go back. That's Mr. Jask. And Mr. Jask just joined us. So we're going to see more from Mr. Jask in a little bit. Next up, we got MR, 4RM. Boom. 1190. Almost ready to graduate again. Huge spike over here. Let's follow. And that looks like a dude from a whiskey commercial. I like it too. I've always wanted to be that guy. You know, I don't really drink much anymore, but the look of a guy in a whiskey commercial, that's kind of what I'm going for. You know what I mean? Could you do the dojo on your phone? I think so, yeah. So, isn't that Fisher? Maybe, but that's Fisher without, maybe, dude. I can click on it. Yeah, that's like Fisher if he was going to pose for a whiskey commercial. All right, let's go into this here. So first we're going to back it up one. And there we go. A lot of good work being done here. Let's go click on the end game. Silman, beautiful. We go middle games. Pop. Oh, very nice. As we go up the cohorts, we really get, let's say, beginning around 1,000, the ability to do what we call chess culture. Books like First Book of Morphy, right? Get a little bit into it. Okay. So then we got some tactics. Polgar mates in 2, 650. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Let's see if we got a game. Excuse me, this one. Impfgegner. Impfgegner. First classical game I've played in 8 months. I just realized I was like, Impfgegner. I think it really do. A literal translation would be like an opponent of vaccines. Okay. So, bishop d5. Probably a poor decision here, trading bishop for knight. d4 looks better. Okay, well, let's talk about this interesting position, honestly, because bishop e6 looks wrong because it's blocking this pawn. However, d4 definitely wouldn't be it because of check to the miserable queen and then snip the beautiful bishop, right? So, interesting question what we should do. On queen e2, there's knight f4. So bishop e6 maybe is a mildly clever move, you know, maybe a mildly clever move. But I'm happy that you defaulted to development. Look, and black was just simply determined. They were determined to put that bishop over there. Now, let's just look, my friends. Do we got one of these people, the vaccine opponent? He's not thinking. He's not thinking. What would be the right move? This is what I think every dojoer should know. You don't need to know no openings. You don't need no stinging badges. You just play e6. That's a no-brainer. Bring your people out, just like I told Liam. Instead, I don't know. No one gets it. Oh, okay, let's read what we say. I really did not want the pin with bishop g4. Okay? I don't think this is a bad mistake, but it is unnecessary and wastes time. Very good. Very good. And with your variation here, with d4, bishop g4, we should also say, just play h3, Bows. Just play h3. Break that pin. And if they take, we are developing with tempo. And I'm going to commend you on recognizing the problems with h3 here. Now, your opponents, let me stress this, your opponents will waste time, tempo. When they do so, we want to maximize our tempo, whatever you want to call it, whatever, our tempo advantage. Okay? So for example, let's talk about this position for a second. Let's say black plays e6 like a normal person. In this scenario, I would say we are up one tempo. We still owe black one of these moves, right? We owe him a move like that, right? But now, whoo, buddy, wow, we got some real tempi. Now let's say d4, okay? Well, I'm up a significant amount. And when you're up time, oftentimes you just start rolling your opponent up. Like here, they got to start worrying about d5 in addition to worrying about bringing their people out, right? So, h3. No one gets it. This person has not learned the value of tempo. They have not learned the value of tempo. And now you go for him. Now, this is important. You don't want to make superficial threats. If you see knight d5, then we do not play knight b5. Furthermore, the knight on b5 is worse than the knight on c3. So what is our move? Castles. What's the move after that? Rook e1, right? Simple chess. And I think it's important to admit, if it's true, that you missed this move. People just, that's a pawn, boss. Yes, it is. That's a pawn, boss. Oh, there's some things we need to talk about. There's some things we need to talk about. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, well, looks like everything's free. That's a little weird. Just play queen f3. Oh, my God. Now you're making me nervous. Oh, my gosh. Check. Well, you made me nervous, but you weren't wrong. Dang, take it easy. Knight takes g5. That's what. Now, by the way, after the game, I think it would be a couple things you could say to him. You say, first, you start with welcome to the dojo. The next thing we can say is bows. You need to take your time. You started with less time than you finished with more. Yeah, you ended with more time than you started with. Give me a break, son. And then the final thing you could say is bows. Next game, you should focus on bringing your people up. Liam knows all about it. You need to get a lesson with Liam, and Liam could set you straight on this. Okay, here we go. MR4RM is bringing it here. Nice little rating game. Okay, next up, Ted Gecko. Let's click on Ted Gecko. Ted Gecko has graduated before. They are crushing it. Look at that. They're just coming up and up. USCF. And as we go up the cohorts, if you're a friend of this show, you'll know that I say this all the time, but I think it's important to note. As you go up the cohorts, you'll see more and more people playing OTB as their preferred rating. Right? Makes sense. You learn chess maybe online, play some stuff online like Liam is, and then eventually when it gets serious, you start getting a little higher rated, you're like, bows. We got to do some USCF or some, FIDE, something like that. Okay, so here we go. And let's look at the activity. We're going to go back one. And they did 103 hours of work, my friend. That's no chump change. What are they doing non-dojo? I always get a little jealous, feel cheated on. Some rapid, some tactics. That's fine. Okay. And they got a coach, too. That's cool. All right. Now here, let's see tactics. Some mates in two, some tactics time. Great. And then if we take a look at the end game, beautiful. And then just a touch of middle game and strategy. They've done some games. Let's check it out. Here's Ted Gecko. Boom. Good. It's funny, this variation has been really popularized, last, 10, 20 years. And I put this as part of the dojo repertoire, and so it's really cool to see a lot of our people playing it. Bishop e2. Not in love with this move because later the rook is going to want to go to e1. And by putting it on e2, we're just in the way. Good move. Good move. And now bishop f5. Struggle with placement of this bishop. In the past, put it on g4. Developing the bishop can wait. I know I'm going to put the rook on e8 and knight on d7. It makes sense to develop them first. Very well said. Very well said. I can't agree more. And the other thing that really is important to see about this opening in particular is that you have a singular brutal idea in this setup, which is, even though it doesn't look like it yet, you are playing for mate. And it's weird, but the reason you can do it is you've got more pawns in front of your king. So he's not going to mate you. He might be able, they might be able, to push you around on the queen side of the board. But luckily, your king is not over there. That is not where your king is. So the default should be pop, pop, pop. And then, trust me, start launching them, baby. Start launching them. Just, and if you lose, you can blame it on me. But it is a beautiful attack, right? And again, White's got a slightly different problem. They've got to come up with some juice on the queen side. And like I said, your king is not over there. Okay, bishop f5, e8. Little funky. This guy's, why are we putting it on the e file? Now you own the e file. Good move. Okay, here they come. And c5. Probably not a great move. I agree with you. So, in general, we don't want to be playing on their side of the board. Okay? And I think a problem that a lot of players have in this opening setup is that knight f8 doesn't make intuitive sense, really. You're like, well, why is the knight going there? But for one, he's out of the way. And two, we're getting ready to do the business, okay? And when we do said business, this knight wants to come in and then start talking as a force on the king side. This is, to my mind, really going to help Whites develop their initiative on the queen side, right? I don't know about bishop d3. That seems weird to me. You took it. You did this. White's playing simple chess. We'll give him that. I think the times probably aren't accurate. I don't like b6. I don't comprende b6. Okay. Okay. I like the way, a lot of what White's done, by the way. Except it's a little bit uncomfortable. Uh-oh. What are they doing to themselves? Thank you. Uh-huh. So, let's talk about this briefly. What's beginning to arise is a little bit of, I wouldn't call them the worst fears, but some of the fears of this opening setup, which is they trade everything down and then they have a passed pawn and you don't. So White's default position should be knight b5, trade this, and say the queen endgame is significantly better because I am going to create a passed pawnovich. Let me give you an example. Say go here. Here, 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 here. Queen c3 exclam. And White has a brutalistic plan of playing b4, c5. And if they achieve that, oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. It's not going to be pleasantito, right? Okay, so this happens. By the way, we could definitely do some more annotations here. Good move. Maybe good. Good move. And now I think we're in trouble. Now, this is where we need to calculate and do some analysis, because White has queen d3, queen b6, and queen f6. Queen f6 is unimpressive. But the point is that on queen b6, we need to calculate this out, and apparently white didn't. So in our annotations, we want to focus on this move. And it's important to understand what the potential drama is for us. The drama is if they get this bad boy moving, then we're in big trouble. And it's hard. In the queen ending, the most important thing will be the passed pawn, because it's really hard if white gets a passed pawn moving to stop it. All right, I say this in every show. A problem with the annotations is often that when we get to the end game, people are tired both during the game and after the game to do good annotations. And doing the annotations in the end game will teach you the end game more than anything else. Okay. We have a coconuts emote. We definitely need a coconuts emote. Okay, Sid Mandu wrote a novel, but I got some time. I'll read this. So, the graduation took a lot longer than I anticipated because the ChessCom rating is a rapid rating. There was a temptation to try and get points back after a classical game loss by playing a faster time control. I screwed myself with this, and my rating plunged in the fall. And then I had another bout of this in November, December. I only have myself to blame. I made a solid effort to stay off rapid time controls with my rating and mostly kept to that. For the next cohort, I'm going to switch over to Lee Chess because they have a classical rating. And that's very true, actually. It's part of a thing we don't talk about much in the dojo, where really the ChessCom people really didn't do. Honestly, the ChessCom people, in some ways, I'm not anti them, but they really are like trying to kill classical chess, and they're just like, let's have everything be a blitz game, both at the higher levels of the game and then the lower levels of the game. Okay, rant over. And I hopefully take part in some of the weekend tournaments. It will also prevent me from trying to chase points quickly. As for the program, I really like many parts of the cohort training. I love the Chernev books as well as the Polgar mates. I did find that I ran out of material before graduating. That's okay. What I should have done is gone to the next cohort and done some study there. The sparring was not as great an experience, but it's not the dojo's fault. Because you have to move within a minute of starting a sparring match, it really kind of screws things up. Especially with the endgame sparring, where the first move is often critical. I don't think I have reached my ceiling. I think I should be able to get through the next cohort in a more deliberate fashion now that I have a new play with regards to where I play and how I play. We will see. I would like to thank Nose Knows All for his help when I had the big slump in October. He and I analyzed several games together and really opened my eyes to things in my game I hadn't considered. Also, all the other dojo members that chimed in during analysis, I'd like to thank too. That's probably been the best part of the program, is meeting up with others on the Discord and talking chess and going over games. I live in a rural area and the chess club is pretty weak. The dojo serves as a chess hall of sorts, and I didn't realize that value until about 4 months after joining. Oh, that's a great note. Sid Mendu been working, that's right. Let's go check it out. So, returning USCF provisional, looking good. Montana. Oh, it'd be fun to know where in Montana he is. I have a good friend from high school lives in Missoula. And okay, 12:05, dude made it. And USCF is, well, look at that. He's way up there with the USCF. But right, there's not that many tournaments in Montana. Okay, so we want to go activity, and we want to see what he did to get here. 167 hours, my friends. That is indeed work. That is indeed work. And it's interesting to reflect, like, was it really the case that dude, the dude did all the work there to get to the next level? Like, there was nothing left to do. Maybe. Let's click around a little bit. some great pull guard mates in 2. And, yeah. One thing I'm not good at is I help design like how many mates in 2, but I don't always remember off the top of my head, like on the cohort, how much does a cohort have to do, for example. I don't always remember. So, puzzle survival, good. Tactics time, okay, good. Right, and the material really does evolve now when you go up to 12 to 13. And you're allowed to study little openings in the next cohort. Got some endgame work. Beautiful. All right, so Sid really did it here. Look, this is the kind of graduation, like I said, I admire. He had a slump, He had to figure some stuff out. It wasn't easy. Hard to play over the board. All these challenges. So I really appreciate that. So let's take a look at some games. With this win, I achieve a rating of 1455 and move on to the next cohort. Nice. Okay, here we go. Now let's just look at our time graph first. That's a more normal time graph from both opponents. Good. All right. All right, here we go. Let the party begin. All right, so it looks weird. Bishop b7. Good move. And they do this. It looks wrong. Okay? Now, you played king f1 here. And I just want to give a shout out to my romantic friends from the 19th century here. Okay? Because what they would have considered is the phantasmal g3, fg, and castles. And they would have probably said, dude, you're toast. And I think they're right. I think they're right. Like, I would just park my king over here, and I'm going to mate you, son. My force count and my development is so amazing that you ain't going to live through this mouse. Okay? So king f1. What do we have here? We have a refusal from black to develop. Good move. I don't get it. Tricky. Is it a real threat? No. We just play b4, knight e2. So bishop f4, good move. G5. What do they refuse to do? They refuse to develop their peoples. So knight h4, that looks good. Let's bring the lady in. It's time. That wasn't it. Knight e2. Thank you, right? By the way, don't take a pin piece, my friends. Don't take it. Oh, look at that knight, huh? Look at that one, baby. That wasn't it. Okay, time out. Now, you played queen f7, and that is probably winning, but we want to just look at this for a second. Because simpler seems just queen g5. Right? You don't have to be the fancy with all that other stuff. Queen g5, you're just nailing him. It's just crispy critters. All right. Maybe Kraai, you have to mellow out though, because this is this is pretty good. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. Simple chess. I like the way you're playing simple chess here. Oh, you have more than a sizable advantage. This is what we call crispy critters. Okay, good. I like the control. That's not doing nothing. Good. Good. Oh, you're just fully in control of this game. Now we give him a little check. Oh, take a pawn. Thank you very much. He's not doing nothing. A3. The pawn storm fizzles. A3 is a very mature move, I'm going to say. A very mature move. Maybe there's other ways of doing it, but this just completely squashes all the dreams. Even brings in the rook. Thank you very much. Check to the miserable king. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with all this. Yeah. Very nice, dude. Very nice game. And I'm hoping you said a couple things after the game. First, you needed to say, welcome to the dojo. And then you need to be like, Baus, next time, bring out your people. Liam knows it. Liam knows it. Kraai taught Liam how to bring out his people in just a couple days, and he just yelled at him a couple times until he got it, And then, if you don't bring out your people, this is what's going to happen to you. Welcome to the dojo. All right, here we go. So, Sid Mandu, first of all, again, I want to stress, really cool that you are doing the work, Just started in on the new cohort, but let's just pause for a second here. Look at that work, dude. That is some serious work. 167 hours, 183 dojo points. That's the real thing. Okay. So, next up, we got Oppenheimer. I think Oppenheimer just joined us. Oh, there's a game. Okay. So Oppenheimer just joined us, it looks like. 221, but already has a game. Look at that. And they're in the right cohort. Good. Well, let's take a look. So, fine. It's okay you don't know anything. You're just making some moves. That's fine, yeah. Queen d2, c2, fine. Now c takes d4, knight h5 or d5. It's important maybe, I don't know if I want to go too deep on this, but the issue with cd4 is this pawn is better than this pawn. And we can take that thing whenever we want. Poor move. This is an example actually of how white found himself misguided in the opening. One of the problems of CD is that knight h5 is never any good because we can back it up, right? So h3 was played because at some ritualistic level, they saw that as part of their London setup, but it's no longer necessary because black played CD. Okay, a little weird. What is the right move here? Well, it's got to be d5, bishop d7, rook c8. That's just what's got to be done. So rook e8 doesn't do anything. Bishop f8. We're not fixing our people. Okay, knight e5. Interesting, but a little weird. What should they do? Knight d2. No question about it. Bring your people in. Liam knows it. Okay. Okay, boom. I don't know what they're doing. Ooh, frisky. This one makes me nervous. Maybe it's playable. Definitely makes me nervous, though. DE and maybe 95. Okay. Right. This is going to be annoying. In addition, bishop g5 also looked annoying. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to even do. It looks like our structure is going to at least get smashed after bishop g5. Now, I'm confused by the evaluations where you're saying plus minus. Okay, so. You're talking about g6 here, and it still looks bad. But you're right. Maybe at least here you get the bishop. Yeah, that's a good variation. And you're worse, but you're not toast. Oh, nice move. Well, that's a bummer. Okay, so not a terribly played game. I want you to see that it had nothing to do with not knowing theory, right? And unfortunately, you went to go look at Benjamin Bach's course or something, right? He didn't cover this move because it's not necessary yet, right? E3 would be is the main move. C3, though, is the turtle shell thing that the London players who aren't really actively thinking about their life, they're going to do that automatically. Also then, we saw him do other automatic moves here, such as h3, right? And some weird 95 stuff, right? So, not the opening, especially not at this level. There's no, deep theory that's required. There's, in this position, right, you're still doing fine, but this is asking a lot of the position to play e5 right now, because you're going to be in this permanent pin. Yeah. So what would be more normal? Something like bishop d7, rook c8, right? You're doing okay. All right. Oppenheimer, welcome to the dojo. Oh, let's hit follow over here for Oppenheimer. All right, I'm going to take a break after the next one. My throat needs a rest. So, next up we have Patrick. Patrick has graduated several times already. Let's read what he says. I reached the required ELO a few weeks ago, but I wanted to finish Reddy's Modern Ideas and Sarwan's Winning Chess Strategies before my graduation. The last one in particular was eye-opening for me. I would describe myself as a more positional player. Instead of Capablanca's chess endings, I chose Capablanca's endgame technique by Kolovich on Chessable. The reason for this is simply the workflow. Both Evaluate Like a GM and Simple Chess are on my coffee table, and I'm looking forward to devouring both books. Okay, beautiful. Great. Let's click on Patrick here. Aus Deutschland and Schachklub Doppelbauer Kiel. Nice, dude. Psychotherapist student. Beautiful. Hopefully we're going to get some Bundesliga games here. 1563. That dude's doing great. Does he have a David set? Well, that would be the next thing. Put in your David set over here, the German rate. All right. Activity. We'll back it up one. They did some monstrous amount of work. Okay. Looking good. Let's click around a little bit. Tactics. Some good mates in 2. Some puzzle survival. Winning chess tactics. Nice. Okay. And then we got this one. Winning chess strategies, as the man said. And then, yeah, we did it. All right. So let's see if we got a game here. We got mini. 8 games. Nice. From Pad 1995. Graduation game. All right, let's celebrate the graduation game. Now, is it really a 10-minute game, though, Baus? Is it really a 10-minute game? Oh, man. I don't know. It might be a 10-minute game. Like we had talked about before, the ChessCom games are super fast. Okay, so C5. Now, I would have said, this, by the way, this, when you write, would have been the theoretical line. I think it's confusing to yourself. What is the point of the Caro-Kann? To get your bishop out. The only thing you need to know about this position is that when you compare this one, the bishop f5 is the main move, not because the bishop is super cool there, just because we want to break it down. In a position like this, many strong GMs have actually played bishop g4 here with the thought of just like, Baus, I'm going to get rid of that thing. That's my bad bishop. And then later I'll play c5. Makes sense. So in this position, that's why you should say to yourself, shmiri bashmiri, I want to play bishop g4. Thank you very much. Then I'll play e6. Okay, so here we go. c5. Okay, cd4 is something we want to avoid because we are giving white the c3 square. But this is a good development. I don't know. And right, white has not understood that you are getting a great French here. By that, I mean you have a French where your bishop is out and they're doing weird stuff like gf3. Okay. Weird. Good, thank you. weird. Pawn takes. You could also play queen takes. If there's a problem with pawn takes, it's precisely this, that the knight might become a little bit annoying. Queen b5. Uh-oh. Welcome to the dojo. By the way, why is this happening? Because the dude did not develop their pieces. Now, they have to at least try rook c1, give me a Breakovich. But they do this? What are you doing, buddy? Oh, I've sunk low in my chair. That must mean I'm energy low. What are you doing? What are you doing? Thank you. Oh, that's got to be a good move. No, that isn't it. Well, I don't know if we needed it, but we're certainly... Oh, it's getting rude. It's getting rude. I think rook takes b3 was already on the table there. There we go, buddy. There we go. Check to the miserable king. Dang, he's trying to mate this dude. Dang. Now, by the way, he could have done other things, but that was a classy mate. Learn from the Polgar mates, my friends. From the Polgar mates. Okay. A couple things we wish from this is that after the game you said, welcome to the dojo. Then you told him, boss, you were losing so much time. You're losing so much time. Right? What are we doing? Like moves like this. Your bishop's already out, boss. What are you doing? What's that all about? No one gets it. Okay, you guys, I'm going to take a quick break and then I'll be right back.
Welcome to the dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Geisy. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin. Who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes. True, not over the board, it's only the other chap. Still, his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it.
All right, my friends, let's continue this journey. I'm upright. Someone gave me a posture check. You know, come on. So, well done, Patrick. All right. So. Oh, look at that. What do we got? Charlie Silva, dude. I didn't realize this was happening for Charlie Silva. Oh, here he is. Here he is, dude. Yeah, Charlie Silva did it, man. You kidding me? Let's read. I realize the ratings haven't been updated, but just crossed over 1,900 on Lee Chess Classical. Love chess, love the dojo, love my chess buddies. I do realize that I can't play chess for only the sake of numbers improving, going up because it isn't healthy and not sustainable. I study chess, play chess because I enjoy the game. Also enjoy the relationships it has brought into my life. I do enjoy the competitive aspect, but I can't let it be the only way I assess my joy. Poker mates are taking me forever, even though I'm getting quicker at them. Trying to get into the habit of doing them for an hour or so every day. I've been reading the recommended books slowly, but also reading some other non-dojo stuff, like How to Reassess Your Chess. Now, Reassess Your Chess is part of the dojo literature, by the way. I really enjoy studying master games from the Rex, but I have been diving deep with support from my close friend about Greco and Morphy, and I'm realizing there is so much to learn with creativity and with hacking from these old school bad boys. I try to remind myself often how when I first walked into the dojo, I was basically a complete beginner at 900 ChessCon. That was in the spring the dojo actually first started on Twitch. This is back in the day. Charlie Silva's been with us a while, my friends. I am now 1900 Elite Chess Classical and over 1700 ChessCom. Dang. I think I remember the day when dude made 1600 ChessCom. That was like a big deal. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look. So, there we go. Sometimes this rating chart, I don't know if it's accurate, but that's the Elite Chess. And this Elite Chess is all messed up. All right, let's go over here. Charlie, buddy, wait a second. Are you sure you've graduated here, son? What's going on here? This guy's definitely Dojo 1.0. We're talking OG. But yeah, it's something's weird happening. Where we're almost there, but not quite. Okay, he says last night. All right, last night he got it. All right, good enough for me. The ratings, by the way, update about once a day or something like that. So let's back it up. Dude did 19 hours. Let's check out these Polgar mates, buddy. 5:30, nice. We got some puzzle survival, winning chess tactics, good. And we look at the end game, the algorithm. Okay, got a little opening going on. Middle game's a strategy, good. Yeah, okay. Good, looking good. Now let's check out some games over here, Charlie Silva. Yeah, all right. Let's look. All right, here we go. Nice. This looks just optically, looks like a nice one. One thing we'll say just optically as well is I can tell there's some well-written words here, but I also see there's hardly any variations. And in general, for the next level, you'll need variations. Okay. So, this is not the recommended time control. So this is a 30 plus 30. We're going to ignore it. We're going to ignore it, anything about it. Let's look at the time clocks. I mean, yeah. Black didn't use their time anyway. By the way, when you play, chess online, I think this was probably even a dojo game, but right, people oftentimes, they're not, they won't use their, we've been talking about this, but they don't use it. Okay. Fine. Good. Right, now this is a mild mistake because they have this poor piece, and it would love to trade itself for your bishop, right? So there's kind of a negative tension there for you because you never want to have any kinds of trades with that thing. This thing is not only bad, but it's in the way of their other business. So if they could just organize a trade, they're doing great. So what would be better? Castles. Beautiful move. All right, bishop g5. c6, good move. So the point of c6 is he wants to take your knight on c3 out of the game. Queen d2. And now here's an example of a variation. Was it possible for them to play knight e4? Now, I don't think it's possible yet, but let me just show you what I mean. We need to talk about boom, And now, of course, if bishop e7, knight c d2, bishop d8, knight f3, and they'll take your bishop, and they're doing fine. However, I think what you do is you play knight e4, bishop e7, knight d6, and then I think you're in control, right? Okay. So what am I saying, though? A good first step in this process would then be castles, then threatening knight e4. And then with that tactic, you can kind of see like, oh, this is what Kraai means by the negative tension of my bishop hanging out over here. Queen b6. I don't agree with the notion of getting your queen out and about without 100% proven plans and results. I was considering castling here and just letting the queen take on b2, but I thought knight a4 was a little bit cheeky. Okay. So, knight a4. Yeah, it's interesting because we can ask ourselves, what is the knight doing? So in the same way we could say, you don't agree with the queen being out and about. We could say, I don't know if we agree with the king being out and about. Or then the knight, excuse me. Look at this move. This move is pure dog feces on a hot summer's day. They're kindly reminding me to move my horrible knight on the rim and reroute it. Now, let me just say, it might look weird. b5 is actually a fine move because black needs to fix this piece, and this is a great square for it. And b5 gives him some queenside space. So that's fine. Knight e2. Now, I'm really happy with this move, knight e2. I'm overjoyed. This is actually the best move you've done, and I want to just stress it because it shows that you understand that that knight on c3 isn't the happiest piece. Okay. Boom. And knight g3 is a bold move. And then you say knight f8 is a mistake. I got to read about rook e8. I have no idea why rook e8, and I'm already getting the term paid actor in my head. My buddies message me with paid actor anytime I play an opponent and clearly doesn't seem to be on the same level as someone around my rating. My friends are the best. Okay, rook e8. It's not the dumbest thing I've ever seen. He wants to play like bishop f8 and stuff. All right, knight g3. There's a big question here with knight g3, Bows. And that is, what is the ye old eval on g5? Gotta look. And I'll just tell you off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't know what the eval is. It's still up. It's still a question for me. But we have to look in this position. So imagine pop, 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 pop. If knight f5, bishop f8, a scenario where they're thankful that the rook did move to e8. And on check to the miserable king, they have knight h7. So I don't know. I don't know if this was, in fact, a thing for black. And this is an example of where we need to have variations. Okay, so maybe there's something there for you after g5. I don't know. So, here we go. Knight f8. Yeah, I don't know about knight f8. Maybe it's not the worst move, actually, if he gets to play knight g6. The real question is, was g5 working? Rook ae1. This is a romantic move because it's claiming that the rook on f1 is going to be a monster someday. And now he goes for it. g5, and I feel like I'm having the time of my life, and I never felt this way before. I wanted this move to happen so it would remove the defenders from their king. White went with sacking the bishop since the knight is more effective to handle mates than the bishop. Okay, here he goes. He's happy. All right, big question for black. Yeah, where do they go? Knight g6. So here we would want a variation talking about king h8. One bummer for black about king h8 is on this, you at least get to bring your knight in. It's still super complicado, though, because of knight h7. And ooh, there's questions. There's questions. But even, actually, it's just really complicated. Because if you recapture, then this looks like, well, I was going to say it's the end of the fiesta, but there's knight e6. This is why the variations are important. Okay, I like it, I think. And that just seems to be a resignations move. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, the simple move after knight h7 just be queen g3, right? Bows, why don't we just play queen g3? We win the knight and the attack continues, Bows. What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, Lordy. And he plays now. Why doesn't he play knight takes f6? You've got to play knight f6, Bows. He gives you that? Oh, man. Cleaning up the shop. Taste me. You got him, Bows. KO. KO. Oh, Sombrero, what do you mean, man? Hold on. Is somebody shouting me on the Discord? Sombrero's shouting at me on the Discord. When you say we, who do you mean? Who dost thou mean with we? I am not going to be here forever. Let me just check here. I am going to finish the show though, unless Kostya or somebody. We covered the game, by the way. We definitely covered the game. We're going to put a video up on it and everything. No, we got a couple graduations left, Mouse. We got a couple left. Next up is Jocelyn. I'm going to follow Jocelyn over here. Jocelyn looks like they're already ready for the next level over here. By the way, Hockey Chess, let me say something just that I love what you're doing. Beautiful annotations, very fun. On a serious note, for improvement, doing the variations will be the key for you to go to the next level. Because you play someone harder, now you're in higher cohort, they're not going to just roll over, right? They will actually think, when it gets complicated and do some hard work. You know, they will start calculating themselves. Okay, so what do we got here? So, activity. We're going to back it up one. And then this is looking good. Endgame work, beautiful. Games analysis, all looking good. We got any clubs? No clubs yet. All right. My home is my rook and Kaipi. So, here we go. And this is looks like a 60-30 game. Let's see the time graph. Both players not really thinking that much. Let's look how it goes. This is a fancy line. Don't play knight bd7. Uh-oh. This is some fancy saus here. Well, I would thought I was better than this after queen a4. I think it means queen a5. My extra pawn isn't worth much. My pawn structure is mediocre, and white has a powerful bishop pair. I don't like my position. Okay, great. Great breakdown. And to me, it's a simple question of, can we control the light squares or not? Right? So, g6, castles, b6. b6 I don't like. Let me try to explain. This is the problem piece that we have to deal with. That piece is strong. We want to really not let them into our light squares. So we want to keep this light square control really good, right? Further, this bishop kind of needs to move back anyway to defend this pawn. So key position here is bishop g7, where we are attacking that thing. And let's say they defend it. Before the bishop c4, bishop g4s of the world happen, we should strongly consider a move like e5. Right? We should strongly consider that. Is it a messy position? Yes, but you're still fighting. By the way, on g6, it makes a lot more sense for white to play castles long, followed by something like bishop g4. We can imagine bishop g7, bishop g4, and here you are in a little bit of trouble. Maybe, though, we still play e5 like a madman, right? And maybe white's better after bishop d7, but they're not crushing us. For example, pop, 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 and we're alive in 1985. Okay, so main thing for us, though, is to see b6 is a loss of a tempo and loss of a light square. Good move from white. I don't know why they're not pressuring e6. Okay, it's interesting what you're doing. Rook f8. I don't know. Okay, I get it. It's not an easy position. Bishop f3. I don't know why. I don't know why white never went after e6. Okay, so here we go. b4. And now you played knight d7. White is doing a little bit of funny business here. And I think if you had a little more confidence, maybe we would say knight d3. And I think we can ask the question of who's better and why now. It's not so easy for them to figure this out, right? We got a nice knight. We got a nice knight over here. Yeah. So, yeah, now that's a problem. Now we're in a little trouble. Knight e5. Rook f6. Okay. Why aren't we playing rook d2? Right? I think we want to play rook d2. Passive. Now the rook is out of there. It's not doing much. So here's the problem. The rook on f6 isn't doing that much. And, yeah, okay. Okay, now some fun stuff happens. Some really fun stuff happens. Now, I was kind of on black for playing rook f6, and I still don't believe it. And what we might even want to go back to, because an amazing thing is going to happen after f3, is on rook d2, we should consider king f1. The party isn't necessarily over yet, though. But that's a move to consider. I'll just point out that fun moves like knight d3 might work. You know, they might work. There's a lot of dojo happening right here. Okay, but let's go and look at this beautiful situation. Boom! Nice. I remember I got trapped into this drawing situation once. I had a winning game, and it was a blitz game against the famous John Donaldson. This was truly 1989 or something. He tricked me like this too. So if GF, knight F3, we're going to get what we get. And it's a draw. Now, that looks fair. It doesn't look like white should try to get out of that mess. So very nice move. And we're seeing some good tactics now as we're progressing up the cohort ladder. What we're not seeing, though, is like your opponent using their time. Because there were a lot of decisions here, okay? Where, oh my gosh, there was some really big questions at stake. For example, this bishop e6 thing, I don't know, maybe you can play chess that way, right? But boom, boom, we got to talk. We got to talk about this. These are moves White's got to think about, right? It's time to think. Chess is about thinking. Yeah, chess is about thinking. Queen d2 might be a move too. Here too, I don't know. It's complicated for me. Okay, so they're not thinking online. It's not just the lower rateds. The lower rateds are worse than the higher rateds with it. But once you realize that these opponents you play online are distracted and they are simply blitzing stuff out. They might be very talented. They might be doing mates and chessable and yada yada, but their mind has not been able to sink into the position, and that's why they're making impulsive moves, right? Okay, so here we go. Boom. That was Jocelyn. And next up, we got Josh. And Josh says, I haven't been that active on the dojo lately, but have been playing in some weekend congresses, and ECF is climbing. Playing too many kids for FIDE to climb. Looking forward to logging my games again since I'm not at the cap anymore. Not sure what I mean by the cap. I watched the Queen's Gambit, and now I'm here. Nice. Okay. There's the ECF, very impressive, 1656. ECF is the English Chess Federation. See if they're in the English club. UK Dojo, there we go. So we'll take a look at the activity. We'll go down one, and dude did the work. Actually, one thing is, if I go training plan, will it actually, watch, it'll show me for, Jack's website is so cool. Because what I just did is, could I look at what he did in the 15-16 and then move it to the 16-17? I think I can. Wow, that's really cool. So I can go back in time and see what they did for the cohort before. And I did that because he mentioned like I was already at the cap. And maybe he meant really with the games and analysis cap. It wasn't quite there, but I get it was close. Okay, so now we'll go activity. And we'll see how they got here. We're going to see lots of games and basically focus on the games analysis as they should, right? Some tactics, some puzzle rush, some Polgar mates in 2. Lots of Polgar mates in 2. Great, dude. Great. Let's actually look at the 16-1700. Oh, wait a second. Let me see one thing. So they did, wait a second. Tactics, Polgar mates, 1660. So then we'll go training plan 1516. And we'll just see what they got to do here. So, solve the mates in 2. But is it like all of them? You have to do all of them at this level. I guess so. Completed. Nice. Okay, so let's look at a game. This This is Joshua McKenna, and there's a lot of prep going on here. This looks like a 60-25. We'll look at the clock usage. Unfortunately, the clock usage isn't there. Okay. Right. This fine example of of somebody getting too fancy with their opening. Okay. Thank you. All right. Interesting position. Okay, so they've prepped this out. Now, one of the challenges here is the challenge is understanding. So, one funny thing about this position is that I think black has to be doing fine because the activity. But when we made this trade, what's curious about this one is even though people love to take the bishops, and I don't think it's a bad move, what happened though was that we lost one of the pieces that could fight for the blockade square. And this bishop has a problem fighting for the blockade square, which is the key battle in this kind of position. Okay. And you do some really cool analysis about knight bd2. Let's look. Knight bd2. And then let's look at the famous bishop h3. Not sure I believe this one. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, and then we're toast, right? This loose bishop is what drove my ideas. Correct. Great variation. And then now you're talking about bishop c7. Yeah. Good. Good. I like it. You know, there's other moves too. Of course, you could play a move like rook ad8. Okay. So knight d4. Bam! We did it. Oh, man. gh3. F3 might be a move to think about in that position. Queen h3. Queen f3, excuse me. Check to the miserable. Check to the miserable. And now it was a draw. It's a very correct game. Very correct game. And how did the milk go bad? The milk went bad when white forgot to develop their pieces. You see, it doesn't end with the lower cohorts. People, it's a little more subtle, but it doesn't end there. Dude needed to bring out his knight. Good. Fantastic, Josh. No, I'm loving this. And Josh, let me just say, dude, you brought it, man. Let's just look at that again. You totally brought it with 227 hours, dude. That's the real thing, man. And then, you know, if anything, it looks like you only get to play a tournament now and then, but still, I mean, that's great progress, and you're getting close to ye old 1700. So, and I think you'll make it too. All right. Good annotation. In general, the annotations have always been a strength of the dojo, but they're just getting better and better. Better and better. Here comes Chevy. Chevy might have just joined us here. Just joined us on the 7th, so welcome to the dojo. And they've done a couple things, but basically they're just new to the dojo. So thank you for joining the dojo, Chevy. Next time we'll see some games and some activity. All right. Next up, we have Gaspard. I've delayed graduating for a long time, but I keep getting the notification to graduate, so I'm finally doing it. I like the program so far. It keeps me accountable. Beautiful. 1727, USCF. Fantastic. And good. going to follow Gaspard over here. Activity. Boom. Dude did a lot of work, my friends. Let's just say the obvious. As we began, right, with Liam, and now we're over here, the amount of time that people are putting in, the ones that are graduating, right, monumentally higher. There's a lot of people in these, let's say, 16, 1700 cohort. Maybe they haven't done that much work, but they also haven't graduated. It's the people who are doing the work who are graduating. Sounds obvious, I know. But it also, you were just saying the obvious, it takes more time to graduate. This is like a lifetime achievement, my friends, to make 16, 17. And we can say, I don't know much about Gaspard, we can take a look, but, it's going to be an even bigger struggle to get then to the next level, to get to 1800. All right, so let's click around a little bit. Not too much tactics, okay? Maybe the Mates in 2 would be a good starting point. We got some Simple Chess, Evaluate Like a GM, some great books. We got some Endgame, looking good. And we got some opening work. All right, that all looks good. Clubs. The No Stress Chess Club, okay? It's so cool we got the clubs now. Now it feels like an established thing. It's very new, of course. All right. So, now, this is Michael Sue. And this is going to be our last graduation, and then Sombrero can take this stream over. This is Horseshoe Las Vegas, 40-90, sudden death 30. So it says, let's just see if this works out. Now, the clock times aren't real. That's okay. Probably an OTB game. Sometimes it's hard to get the times. This is all fairly standard stuff. I've had this position with black. And now EF3. So one thing, let's just say the obvious. In this kind of position, white has sacrificed their tempo for the bishops and the central pawn. And so F3 maybe, but we're pushing our luck, of course, with F3. Now, big moment for black. They take, and it can't be that wrong to take, but they do liberate the dark square bishop when they take like this. Now, right, it might be equal no matter what. Let me read what he's saying. In this kind of Nimzo, white should just accept the pawn down and build on E4 and F4 duo. So, like this, or like this. Which one do you think is the best? I guess he likes this one. Now, for my little understanding of the game, I think this is immensely complicated. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what's happening here. Okay, but F3. So it makes me nervous because of the development problems that we might be facing here. So CD4, to me, feels unambitious. Rook E8's a good move to think about. Bishop E6 is a good move to think about. It's hard for white to actually do anything at this point. Okay, so now Rook D8. One thing that's hard for black players in this kind of situation to often understand is that the F3 pawn is doing wonders against this knight. However, problemito and casito for us is that the knight, let's say there's a pawn here, right? That pawn would be in the way of our knight, but here the knight has that square, and that makes me nervous for black. Yeah, for white, excuse me. So Rook D8's natural, but notice the other rook kind of wants to go there too. And that is the appropriate square for the bishop. Okay, what is suspicious about knight f4? It's not developing his coconuts. He needs to be thinking about developing the coconuts. Knight f4, queen f4, and now d5 happens. And I think rook e1 is a great move. If you can keep the pawn on the board, then we just have to believe in your position, right? Okay, so d5, rook e1. And so we blundered. Now, it's important to say in our annotations, first of all, by the way, you guys, we all make mistakes, okay? And I can imagine the thought process with this move d5. I'm sorry, I'm slouching. That's posture check, mouse. I can imagine the thought process for white here being, Bows, my pawn's threatened. The only way out of this is d5, and I see that rook d5, bishop h7 wins me a coconut, right? Okay. And I have this problem with my student Jamil, too. Every time he sees like a tactic, he can't help himself. He's like, all right, like if he saw that, he'd do it too. He'd be like, d5, let's go d5, you know? But then in our annotations, if we missed knight e7, well, we should say something. Yeah, say something about it. Say just, I blundered this move, you know, something like that. Rook e1, pop. It looks like we're down a full pawn and that knight's strong. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now, the general problem that we're going to have as white is we cannot pressure the knight easily with our dark square, at all with our dark square bishop, right? I'm not sure I understand that here. Protects the a pawn, gets his queen side going. Yeah. It's a little imprudent looking because bows, don't we need to fix our business? You know, we need to fix our business. Okay, he's just going to sit on you. Okay. Dang, bold. And I don't really want to do that. And you say, I don't really want to take on d5, but it was the best option according to the engine. So, first of all, okay, you're saying you just forgot. Okay, that's a good annotation. Just say, I missed it, Bows. I missed it. And honestly, I think part of you missing it is what I said earlier, that you felt like you were putting good pressure on the d5 point, but he's in control of the light squares. This bishop can't help us really much against the light squares. Now, in terms of engine stuff, like, we're probably toast here, but this is going to be pure unpleasantness here once this goes down. Okay. Any other move is better for black than that. Rook e1, maybe we're getting a little bit of love here. That wasn't it. Oh, no. Queen g5. They let it... So this would be helpful if we saw sometimes. Because, let's read what you say. I was aware of the queen g5 idea, but saw it didn't work previously, and so was not alert for when it could work. And queen g5 here was crushing. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. By the way, this is an OTB game, and black is not even thinking, because they're like, there's, by the way, opposite color bishops. What's the problem? The problem is one side can develop an initiative on their color. In this case, the dark squares for white, the light squares for black, right? And so we got to be thinking about queen g5 all of the time. Okay. And we should say what they should have done. You're saying any move. Okay, fine. I'm fine with that, saying it that way too. I like queen a4. And now they figure it out. Uh-huh. Well, that was, let me just say, their last couple of moves were very unimpressive. And now you're at least talking to them. Let's look at your variation. Doesn't look like we're going to do it here, does it? Okay, good. I am not thrilled. I'm not thrilled with the way Black has played this, and we should definitely investigate h4. I'm not sure I get bishop c3. Right? What are we doing? h4. We need h4, h5. They've solidified it a little bit. I don't understand Black's moves. Wait, now I'm confused. Why couldn't, was there like some dreaded, I guess there's some dreaded stuff here on bishop f6. He wants to do that to us. But I mean, worst case scenario, we're going to go back. I don't understand. So there's a lot of weird things happening here. It'd be good to write out what this situation is. Oh my Lord. It got really hot. Jeez. Black is just, like, Black is kind of losing their minds here. What are they doing, man? What are they doing? Someone's going to get mated. Someone's going to get mated, Bows. Welcome to the dojo. I hope you told him that after that, you know. You could have told him we need to use this time to calculate a little bit. Dang. Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to the dojo. All right, you guys. That was great.